Yeah, Daniel, there's that highlight we all saw of you kind of blocking three dudes on that one play. Can you kind of just walk us through what happened that sequence?
I knew my job was to go block the alley player, and I went and blocked him. And once he was done, I was like, okay, I might as well go to the next one. And I went to the next guy. I didn't really have a good leverage on him, so I kind of slipped by him. And then I seen another guy, so I just hit him. And then number 7 felt bold enough to come test me at the end, and we all saw what happened there. So that didn't work out for him.
Jack Sobel.
Well, that was definitely my question, but I'll ask a different one. Daniel, how did you feel in your first game back after a while out with injury?
I didn't feel like I didn't skip a beat. I still took pride in learning the playbook, making sure I was still in shape. So when I come back, everything just felt normal.
Mitch.
Daniel, we've seen Tyler Beatty come in and make a few big plays the last couple games, especially this past week. I'm curious, what goes into him just kind of staying ready and being able to take advantage of, kind of limited touches, but still hit so many big plays?
Yeah, see, he's one of the more scary backs in the league because he can catch you at any given moment and you can't tell when it's coming. Like Larry's going to take maybe 30 carries a game. He might spark one, but Beatty, out of like maybe 12 carries, he might have 5 or 6 explosive plays. It's just you don't know when they're going to happen. So he's one of those players where you always have to key in when he's on the field and always have to keep an eye on him.
If I could ask a quick follow-up to that, obviously one of those was that touchdown run. I think it was his first carry when you all were down 14 in the fourth quarter. How big was that play just for the momentum in that game?
It was a great run, a great momentum shift. If no one really noticed, but Michael Maeda picked up a key block on a bumper pull, which actually sparked Beatty's run down the sideline. So it was actually a key play that changed the momentum of the game.
Dave?
Daniel, besides just getting a win, do you feel like anything else is kind of on the line or at stake in this Georgia game that you guys are thinking about or kind of on your mind?
Not really. Our goal is just to go 1-0 this week. That's all our main focus is. The game's no different than any other one in my book.
Do you talk about bowl game and trying to enhance kind of who you guys are as a team? Is that part of it?
For me, a bowl game right now is not even in my picture. I'm looking at Georgia. They're the only game that I'm playing right now that could be my last game. I don't know what happens. So, you never know. You just got to take one game at a time.
Gabe?
Daniel, when you go back, not just the last 3 weeks, but obviously everything you've gone through earlier in the year, have you spent any time reflecting on just what you've gone through to be on the football field here in the last week?
I thank God every morning, every day for blessing me with the ability to be able to still step on the field. Even if I couldn't step on the field, I would still thank God for just giving me the ability to see each and every day. But it's definitely a blessing. I don't really sit back and dwell on it. Sometimes I forget that these things happen because life goes on and moves so fast. But one thing I will say is that it has changed my perspective of the game and life. So I'm actually glad that I had to go through these things because it slowed me down and helped me get a better look on life.
Ben?
Daniel, with the 1-0 mentality in mind, is it at all difficult for you guys when you see a blue blood like a Georgia or Florida across the way to have that focus and not try to view it as a statement game or what have you?
I feel like kind of early in the season, we kind of didn't have that one game at a time mentality. We were kind of, just looking at the season as a broad schedule. But as time went on, we started developing that 1-0 mentality and dedicating ourselves to focusing directly on that opponent and not speaking on anybody else until that game is over with. So it's definitely, as you guys can clearly see, has changed the culture and made it to where, wins are a lot more accessible.
Bennett?
Hey, Daniel. I wanted to ask about Damon Hazelton. I'm just curious sort of how much you've gotten to know him this season and if it was sort of felt like a, big moment for him to have the game that he had, especially in the fourth quarter on Saturday, and if you guys sort of got to celebrate with him about that at all.
Yeah, so I'm not big on celebrations. I'm more of a by myself type of guy, but I do know Dame, pretty well. He's a great player, and that was great to see him go out there and perform like that. But one thing I will say is us as a program and as players, we know Dame and Hazleton, and we weren't surprised at all that happened. It was just a matter of time that it did happen. So,
Jack.
Daniel, it looks like it, especially at the beginning of the game, you were running a lot of two tight end sets with you and Nico on the field at the same time. How do you think you guys complement each other when you're on the field at the same time there?
with Nico being more of a route running tight end, and I'm more of like a run down, run blocking tight end, I feel like we kind of offset each other because we're both equally good at each thing. One of us is just better at something specific. So what I like in a pass game, he picks it up. What he likes in the run game, I'll pick it up. And then we have players like Messiah Swinson and Logan Christopherson who can come in the game and perform just as well as us.
Sweetie, go ahead.
Hey Daniel, just on that play where you block three guys and and you mentioning that you're more of a run blocking tight end. Eli kind of mentioned earlier today, you kind of set the tone physically. Is that something you kind of try to do when you're blocking guys downfield and kind of giving it to them?
Yeah, my goal usually is to always, because blockers typically don't get the notoriety that maybe someone who scores a touchdown does. So my goal is always just to block someone so hard to where someone in the stands is like, wow, look at him. 82 is, hey, he's moving somebody. So that's always my goal going into the game. So that's why usually if you see a big block from me or something, I'm focused in, locked on trying to get it done.
Gabe.
Daniel, coach has talked a lot about in talking to recruits, and I think most coaches at Missouri have said this, but stressing, staying home and playing for the state school. Looking back 3 years as the one guy in that class who really did that, was it something that you thought about at the time? And maybe whether that's yes or no, looking back now, is that something that you take a little more pride in?
I mean, yeah, I definitely do. But I'm not going to knock guys, like Ronnie. Ronnie made his decision, and he's obviously doing what he does well. But I feel like that this was just the right fit for me, and this was just the place I like to call home. I still love Coach Odom for bringing me here. I thank him for bringing me here, and I'm continuing to buy into Coach Drink's process and continue to let him lead the way.
All right, we'll let Daniel go with that one. I think Connor's outside. So thanks, Daniel.